I'm Guru Subramanian Swaminathan.
Listening platform.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the listening platform. Today, we have got the co founder of Rangde, Smita Ram. Welcome, Smita. How are you doing?
Thank you so much, Guru. I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me today.
I'm absolutely pleasure to have you, and the cause in which you are working, and specifically Rangde is working. As you know, like it's very close to my heart, and that's what prompted me to let's do this podcast and spread the awareness about Rangde. In fact, I was speaking with my son, and his birthday is coming up very soon. I said, like, have a look at the Rangde, and I am with Rangde for 18 years almost now. Have a look at the Rangde, and then let's start your Rangde account from your birthday actually. So he's checking it. Probably he'll start doing his investment from this year probably. Let's see how it goes.
Fantastic. It's so good to hear that.
Thank you. What we normally do is that we'll start off with the introduction, Smita. And I personally feel that the guest is the best person to introduce themselves. Would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Yes, thank you so much, Guru. Actually, it's been 18 years with Rangde. So apart from Rangde, I don't have too much of an introduction of myself. But yeah, I think I'm somebody who did her undergrads in mass communication ages ago. But I switched to social work because I felt that my communication skills can be put to good use by creating awareness about social issues that India faces. So that is what I was thinking as a young student, and I hadn't decided that I would start something in the social space, but a lot of experiences, one thing led to another, and here I am. It's been 18 years. Like I said, Rangde is so much a part of our lives now that it's difficult for me to have an identity without Rangde. So currently my introduction is I'm the co-founder of Rangde, and that's the best way I would like to have.
That's certainly a best introduction, absolutely no doubt at all. Before we get on to the nitty-gritties about the intentions about Rangde, can we get into in terms of what Rangde? I know you have been repeating for 18 years, but one more time for our audience also, what is Rangde and why it is so close to you?
So Rangde is a peer-to-peer social investing platform. And to simply put, what it means is you as an individual can invest in a fellow Indian anywhere across India. And this fellow Indian could be a farmer, it could be an artisan, or an entrepreneur who does not otherwise get access to loans from banks and other financial institutions. So you can actually invest in a fellow Indian from across India just with the click of a few buttons. That's how it works. We call it social investing because you're not really investing in the markets, but you're actually investing in real people and creating a tangible impact.
Absolutely. Perfect. I remember this definition when I joined, and it still stays the same. I mean, I'm happy that it still stays the same. Like, it has not changed a bit.
Yes, that's one thing that people always tell us, that it's been 18 years, you guys haven't changed. We haven't changed. Rangde hasn't changed. The whole purpose still remains the same because the problem that we are trying to solve is so huge. It's going to take us a few lifetimes to actually solve it in its entirety.
Absolutely, no doubt at all. So when yourself and Ram started off with this, why did you get into this idea of doing something back to the community and also starting Rangde?
So it all started when, we had an opportunity to go outside India. And this was way back in 2004. Ram and I had just got married, and Ram had a professional opportunity in the UK. And we were like, okay, let's give this a shot. And that's what took us there. But we were not really expecting, to experience that kind of life. When we went there, for the first time, we were actually experiencing what life in a developed country would mean. And we couldn't help but wonder how long it would take for India to get to this stage, right? Because we were living in a village called Kidlington, and out there, living in a village is considered to be a luxury, right? And we kept thinking, comparing life in an Indian village to life there. For example, Richard Branson used to have his mansion in Kidlington, and that's how the village was. And in terms of quality of life, in terms of everything, it was perfect. So soon we started to, that sense of restlessness started to set in. We were like, what
Okay.
are we about this? We could keep comparing India to, our life there, or we could actively be doing something about it. So that's how, we even decided that we want to do something about the problem and do something in the social space, even though the
Okay.
intent was always there. Even before we went to the UK, because of my social work background and because of the fact that Ram was very active in the volunteering space, we knew
Okay.
at some point in our life we are going to get into the social space. But that stint outside India actually accelerated the whole progress, because we felt
Okay.
that either we can be sitting and complaining about it, or we could actually do something about
Do
it when we
something.
were young and when we had everything going for us, and not think of it as a retirement plan. When everything is done, we look back and say, hey, what can I do for the society now? We didn't want to be in that stage. So one thing led to the other, and Rang De happened.
Amazing journey, Smita. I mean, if I look now, not look back, look now, probably I'm also in that state now, like the millions of NRIs looking back on India and how it is growing. So I'm part of that at this point in time. But I'm happy that you both have taken that step and everybody is like benefited. Thank you for that.
Yeah, and the best part, Guru, is Rang De is just not about me or Ram, right? It's about
Yeah.
all of us, and that was an underlying principle behind anything that we started, right? While we
Okay.
didn't have a clear idea that we are going to start Rang De, one of the core principles that we were very clear of is we wanted to create a movement. We wanted to,
Okay.
create a platform that connects a lot of individuals who are all passionate about solving one problem, because we knew that as two individuals we are never going to be able to solve this problem, but we know that a movement of individuals like you and me, thousands of them, hundreds and thousands of them, can actually solve the problem. So that's what it does. So if you haven't started something, Rang De is always the platform where you can choose to create
Correct.
that difference.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. But during your initial days, right? I think, like you rightly pointed out, like you have been listening to a lot of communities, or most of them sort of like an unspoken needs of the people, right? How was that experience?
So yeah, as when you're starting up something, I think it's the same with any startup, be it in the social space or otherwise. You're always listening to the voice of your customer, right? And you design products and services to make sure that whatever you do is actually a need that the customer has, right? But in our case, in the social space, this challenge is not equal to, it's not linear. It's not 1 + 1 is equal to 2, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Sometimes people don't even know what they could aspire to become. What
Correct.
is that ideal state? So people often settle for whatever they have access to, without realizing that they can have a better option. So in our case, to explain this further, people used to get access to loans from, not one is the informal money lending that happens.
Correct.
There
Yeah.
were also a set of lending institutions that were lending to people. They were lending at very exorbitant interest rates, right? But communities had kind of become passive recipients of credit. They were taking this credit without really questioning, is this affordable for me? Can I repay this? Am I being taken for a ride? So this lack of agency, financial agency, right, had created this huge bubble in the lending space. And that's when we entered, because we
Okay.
felt that, and as lay people who are not from the economics background, people who are not from the financial background, we just felt that from a humanitarian approach, what was happening was completely wrong, right? Because on one hand, you're expecting that credit can help people overcome poverty, but on the other hand, you see that the same communities were ending their lives because they were unable to repay the loans. So
Because of the same credit.
because of the same credit. So we are like, what is this? So somewhere we had to revisit the design, the service design, the product design, to make sure that the true purpose and intent with which this product is created is actually serving the customers. So we listened through a lot of these articles that were coming out on the
Okay.
problems in the sector, but we also listened through one-on-one interactions with people we visited. We met them, we understood how the model works, we understood why people are getting into this trap, because the way
Okay.
the operating model was designed was people once are into this, cycle of borrowing and repaying, they would never be able to get out of it. There was so much
Okay.
FOMO at play, right? It would just become a habit and people would never stop, stop borrowing in some sense.
It's just a vicious circle of getting into that.
Exactly. So that is what we felt we had to end. And that would end only if there is financial agency. When, somebody in a village, a woman who's borrowing knows exactly why she is borrowing and,
Mhm.
the terms at which she is borrowing. If that awareness is not there, they will always be in this cycle of borrowing and repaying.
I think you touched on a very important point about the field work, and I want to thank you and Ram for giving me also an opportunity to come to a field work. I remember we had a field work probably like 15 years back. The one thing which was very visible on the from the borrower's perspective is the human dignity. How do you want to expand that human dignity?
It's so difficult to even explain, what we have experienced, Guru, because even till today, it's been 18 years, and every time, Ram and I actually visit the community for interactions, for feedback, to figure out, if we are even contributing to productivity, if we are able to create that impact that we envision. So there are many opportunities for us to go back to the field and meet people. And the one thing that, really stands out is the grace and dignity of people who probably have very little means, but they open
Correct.
up their hearts and homes to you. They welcome you like they know you for years, like you're a part of their family. And their ability to share, their ability to be transparent, to disclose, open up their lives. I don't think as urbanites, people who are probably a lot more privileged, we don't have that sort of grace and that
Correct.
warmth with which they actually welcome us. So it always surprises me. And because you always complain, right? Oh, I don't have this. Oh, I wish I had this. If I have this, I'll be happy. We have so many
Correct.
material needs that are
Absolutely.
connected to our happiness. But what we have seen there is even so little actually makes people happy and contented. And there's a hope that tomorrow their lives are going to get much better. So they're not complaining about today, but they're actively working
Hopeful.
towards, yes, how do I make my tomorrow better? And that stood out and that stands out across all communities we have met.
Great. I mean, that's a very important lesson for anybody hearing this podcast, right? I think we have got almost everything basically, but still we try to aspire for, okay, what is next? And sometimes we also get into the compliant mode.
Yes.
I mean, great lesson. Thank you so much. But I'm sure 18 years is not just flying past and then steady. Obviously, there would have been challenging sessions, challenging seasons for you. How was it, and what made you stay grounded?
Yeah, I think when I look back, Guru, there have been so many challenges. I think almost every 3-4 years we've had to evolve. We had to learn lessons, and a lot of this was actually beyond our control. Like in early 2010, there was a huge crisis in the microfinance space because of exactly the problem that I stated, that there was a bubble in the making because many communities become over-indebted to microfinance institutions. And in Andhra Pradesh especially, there were, at least 100 families that ended their lives because they were unable to repay the loans.
Okay.
And then how do you explain? And it was just 2 years of, Rangde being operational, and people who never knew about microfinance got to know about it because of all the publicity that the sector got for all the wrong reasons. And people who didn't understand how Rangde was different brushed us with the same color. They said, oh, what are you guys doing? Are you guys doing this at the cost of poor people? So we had to actually do a lot of explanation and really stay grounded and say that we know we are true to the purpose. So it does not matter what the naysayers say, but you just have to stick to what we believe in. So I'm just sharing this example, but there have been several times when things have gone completely down south. And this was for reasons beyond our control. But the only thing that has helped us stay grounded is our belief in ourselves and being true to our purpose. I think sincerity of intent and being true to, why we started Rangde actually has helped us, stay grounded. And of course, the support from thousands of social investors like yourself. Many of them we have never met. Guru, at least we have had the opportunity to meet so many
Absolutely.
and interact. There's so many of them we have never met. But we know that, they always will hope for the best for Rangde and they're always there to support us. So it's a huge family, thousands of people, and that's where we get a lot of strength.
Amazing. It's going to be perpetual. That's my wish.
Yes, thank you.
And so every borrower comes to you and they have a story why they want. And as an investor, I also believe in their story and personally I have invested on few people, personally checked with those people whether it has helped or not. That's something completely different to any other platform for sure. Many times it is basically you give cash and you forget, you check whether it is returned or not. But the beauty of Rangde, which I felt personally, is basically you can actually check on that person how he is doing. Apart from the cash, you can help in any other ways basically. I know all stories are important for you, but is there any one or two stories which you would like to highlight from your journey? From the borrower's side.
Lots of stories.
Yeah.
One of them, because the Northeast is also one of my favorite places. That's
Okay.
an area that I've visited quite a few times. And there's this story of two farmers from Nagaland, actually from
Okay.
Mon district, which is probably one of the remotest districts in India. And two farmers, Haunton and Paifa, used to
Okay.
grow banana. And, they wanted a loan to, move to banana fiber extraction, because you
Okay.
may be aware that banana fiber now is actually considered to be a very sustainable, raw material for handicrafts.
Okay.
And there are so many skilled people in Nagaland. By default, many of them are weavers, artisans, because that's how they've been living for generations. So Haunton and Paifa had this ingenious idea that they wanted to start banana fiber extraction, so that rather than just sell bananas, now they are creating raw material, which is
Okay.
what would be used for all these handicrafts. There's also furniture that's made out of banana fiber. So they wanted to set this up. But then the local banks refused to lend to them because, one, they were farmers. So farmers are always considered to be very risky. Second, in the Northeast, there's a very unique problem because of a very high degree of migration that happens from the Northeast to other parts of the country. Local banks
Okay.
consider it to be very risky to lend to local Naga population because they think tomorrow
Flight risk.
they'll migrate and they won't get loans. So through our partners, we actually lent money to Haunton and Paifa, and they just didn't stop at setting up this banana fiber extraction units. They actually went on to provide employment for so many women there. So women in the
Okay.
self-help groups who were already involved in making handicrafts joined hands with them. They started to produce this beautiful handicraft and then explored the local markets. And more recently, we heard that they'd received an export order from the banana fiber
Oh my
company.
God. Amazing.
Exactly. So two individuals who had this spark of an idea grew to a village level economy where a lot of women in the village got jobs and they were also contributing productively. And then now they've taken off. And now the local banks are lending to them because from an informal business to an idea that didn't
They-
have that sort of, a seal of approval from anyone, they now
Correct.
have credit worthy because they, when people borrow on Rangde, they also build their credit score for the very first time. So for somebody who was not considered credit worthy, now they have everything. They have a formal credit score. So banks recognize them as, credit worthy individuals. And of course, they have a thriving business where any lender would be happy to lend to them. So stories like this, makes us feel that whatever we are doing is really worthwhile.
Yes, I mean it's full of goosebumps moments, basically, right? I think so. It's not actually lending to one person. It's basically it's like raising the entire community along with them, right?
Absolutely, exactly.
So, how is this has changed you or helped you to grow as a person?
At several levels. One is the determination to continue to do what we are doing. I think for both me and Ram, Ram is the other co-founder of Rangde. And for both of us, this journey has helped us become very strong and very rooted to our purpose. Because these stories like Haunton and Paifa can't just remain as anecdotes, right? It needs to bring out a systemic change. And that systemic change will happen only when banks and other financial institutions start to recognize individuals as
Correct.
credit worthy. And when, individuals like Haunton and Paifa start to ask the right questions from any lender so that they don't get taken for a ride, right? Because in
Correct.
India, I've seen there are a lot of instant loan apps. With the evolution of technology, a lot of these also happen, right? Instant
Correct.
loan apps, instant loan offers, but many of them are scams, and we don't want individuals to be taken for a ride. So we want people to be making informed decisions, right? So
Okay.
one is knowing that the problem is huge, and we have also experienced what is the potential impact of it. So that keeps us really grounded. And the second is the sense of urgency that, we all have a finite time on this planet and we can't really waste our time. So that really, and if the problem is so huge and we are not doing anything about it, it doesn't make sense, right? Somehow
Correct.
we were chosen as individuals to be working on this problem, and we better do a good job of it while we are on this planet. So yeah, these are some of the things that we have experienced as changes in our own life.
So grounded answer, Smita. Thank you so much on that. What does impact mean to you now? Has it changed over a period of time? We are in 2026. So how does impact mean to you now compared to how it was earlier?
So when we started Guru, the problem was, the problem we were trying to solve is how do we make credit affordable? How do we make sure that more and more people get access to credit that is fair, that is empathetic, and, it's not exploitative in nature. But over a period of time, I've also realized that impact is also on the social investors side, right? The individuals who are actually lending money on the platform have, for many people, this journey has been transformative, right? There are individuals who have joined us as team members. Like our CFO, Atul Sharma, was a very active social investor on the platform. And he used to work with IKEA in India. And when he was lining up his booths, he reached out to me and said, Smita, is there an opportunity? And at that point, we had just advertised for our CFO position. And he's joined us. And he still is so committed. It's just incredible to see the kind of things he has done at Rangde. And many of them have become equity investors in Rangde on the platform. Many of them have gone on to set up chapters. Like, they've said that, how do we ensure that, it's not limited to just India or one particular location. So we have a very active chapter in the UK. We have one that's coming up in the US. Recently, in fact, a couple of inquiries from Sydney where people want to set up a chapter. So people have organized Rangde chapters, and we just facilitate this. We are just, our role is very catalytic in nature, but self-organized groups of social investors in these communities. And why would that happen? It wouldn't happen if something deeply transformative has not really happened in these individuals, right? For many of them, when it starts, it's a transaction that making a difference is easy. I can just do it with a few clicks. What starts off as a transaction goes on, to something much deeper. When people start to connect with the communities, understand and appreciate the problem that we are trying to solve and why it is important for us to be a part of this movement. Once their why becomes very clear, that impact is just immeasurable. So I see impact from both sides on what we are enabling at the community side, but also how deeply personal Rangde has become for so many individuals who are on the other side as social investors.
Amazing. I'm a social investor. Absolutely. I keep speaking about Rangde wherever and whenever time permits. In terms of, again, if I reflect of what you said, I don't know I am doing because my fundamental why has been connected long back, actually.
Exactly.
There is no going back of questioning of why Rangde again. It's like sorted. Let's move on to the next step, sort of thing, basically.
Yeah.
Amazing. What you have explained is real. Absolutely. I can really feel from the other side of as a social investor. That's great. Is there any other last message for our audience, Smita, before we close the podcast?
Just that, very often we fail to take the first step. I'm not just talking about Rangde, but fail to take the first step to creating change, because we often think that as an individual, I'm powerless and I can't do much. We always ask, right, what can I do as an individual? But at Rangde, we have always found that the solution is take the first step, and you'll actually see how many people will join you, and you will never be on your own. So my message would just be that, whatever cause you feel deeply about, figure out a way in which you can get involved. It could be Rangde, it could be anything else. But when you take that first step, you'll figure out there are so many ways in which you'll find fellow travelers, you'll find the universe conspiring with you, you'll find a lot of magic happen. But unless you take that first step, you can't experience any of this.
Spot on. I think what you have covered is, I think, commonly called as the red car theory, right? I think until you see the red car, it will be like everything is like, okay. The moment you want to see the red car, you see that red car is everywhere, basically. I hope the universe conspires and then everybody gets benefited with the deep-rooted causes which individuals take. Thank you so much for your time, Smita, and thanks to Ram also. And Rangde has really done excellent wonders. I'm really happy to do this podcast and spread at least a little bit from my side. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much, Guru. It was such a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.